Okay guys, I just want to say Merry Christmas and I'm going to do some gift wrapping and we're going to have some chats. You guys left me some awesome questions, so let's do it.
Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you want to design and build a beautiful website, you can do it all in one place with Squarespace.
Welcome to the Christmas Couples Podcast. See, do it again. We're saying Christmas Couples Podcast. Ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Christmas Couples Podcast. Okay. I have some questions. Wait, is there anything you want to say since you never on my videos that much?
Hi.
Oh, wait, everyone, this is Rocket. You know him.
Hi, my name's Rocket.
He's that pesky boy that hangs out in the back of my videos
I like
sometimes.
cameras.
He likes cameras. Whoops, that's my TikTok.
Really? You're
I
watch
need
TikToks
it, but
right
no,
now?
I'm opening my phone so I can look at the good questions people sent, because people sent really good questions. Tonga's here. Do you want to say something for Christmas? Are you a good boy? Are you a good boy? Too loud, honey. My nightmare about filming podcasts is sometimes I'm a mouth breather, and when I say sometimes, I mean like all the time.
I'm not.
Yes, you are when you're sleeping.
Yeah, when I'm sleeping, but at that point I'm not even alive, so it's fine.
That's what I say. When Rocket falls asleep, I'm like, don't leave me. Don't leave me in the non-dream world. I wish we could still hang out in dream world. Dream realm. It's not fair. Tonky, my love, we're busy. Mother and father recording a podcast. It's like 10 minutes of just nothingness. Yeah, we're recording a podcast.
The visuals have
Oh,
already
P.S.
finished.
This isn't a podcast. This is just like a more chill gift wrapping video with talking in case you want to wrap your presents the day before Christmas or after Christmas. Whenever I release it. Sweetheart, please leave us. We're being sweet and we're doing our podcast. Please go outside. I know, my love. Please go away. What are some ways that you feel like you have grown as a person outside of your career? Love you and all you do. I think that one's for you.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, what do you think?
No, you answer it first.
Honestly, I feel like I don't do much growing outside of my work. I feel like I'm stunted as a person because I don't do anything else. I have no hobbies or whatever. I feel like maybe I've probably matured a bit, I hope, since I was 17 years old. Maybe like in therapy, but that's only because I felt like I needed to go to therapy. So I don't know if that's like overall growing or not. Maybe I haven't grown as a person.
You know what? Come to realize.
I'm a stunted person.
Yeah, I feel like for myself, just the normal stuff.
Talk up, please go outside.
Okay,
We're recording
come
our
on.
Christmas couples podcast.
You're making this look unprofessional.
Just because we're sitting on the bed where we sleep doesn't mean that you could come here and meow at us. So we haven't grown. I'm so sorry. Well, I can't think of anything. Maybe I have grown.
I just don't think there's been... I mean, you've purchased a house and stuff.
That's just a purchase. That's materialistic.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what there is that's not like superficial. For us, it's just like day to day. We live with each other and see each other every day, so we don't really notice.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't notice. I feel very similar. Besides, I feel a bit more sad than when I was a child.
Yay. You've got a lot to look forward to.
Where do you see yourself in the far future? Maybe 60s. Did you plan on retiring or being a sort of mentor or selling a brand off?
Sha'an plans on getting even sadder.
I don't really have those kinds of plans, and I think that's like part of my success is that I'm very opportunistic in the present. I have like short-term plans and projects I want to pursue, but I'm very open to like new opportunities. So I feel like maybe having plans like that will hinder me because then I'll be going in a direction rather than going with the flow. And I think going with the flow has been like really good for me in my life. But I think I'll probably work beyond. Like, I don't think I'll retire. Hopefully I will still be able to do what I do, drawing my little pictures until the day I die.
I think continue working and being somewhat of a mentor, because with photography it's like you always need like assistance and stuff. So in a way there'd be some level of mentorship probably within that level of my work, hopefully. Fingers crossed that I'm very successful and I'm like, wow, other photographers want to be around my work. So yeah, maybe. Yeah, cool. Next.
No, but I still want to say,
Oh yeah,
maybe
go on.
I'd have a brand one day, like separate to what I do. Sorry, I'm not pointing the mic to me. Maybe I would have a brand one day, maybe separate to what I do, but it's not something I would sell off. I just like would like to have a brand and do something else, but have other people managing it and just get to have the fun ideas. But that is very childish. But to be fair, like that's kind of what I do now. So I feel like I could structure it that way, even if it does sound childish.
That's so childish. Like
What?
people like Elon Musk and People that own
Oopsie doodles,
businesses
sorry
and
about
stuff, so childish.
No, more just like
CEOs,
no
children.
more like being like, I just want to have a team of people that do the work and I just have the fun ideas. Like that's a silly view of business, but I feel like if I was beginning it from the ground up, I would structure it in a way where it would be this way.
Okay.
Especially because it's like a side thing and I don't want to have to take time away from my like illustration. So I would structure it that way.
If Sha'an starts a brand, she's not putting any effort into it. It's going to
No.
actually be run by somebody else.
No, that's not what I mean. I would never do that. Like, I don't think I would ever do that thing where someone approaches me and is like, we've got this brand idea. Do you want to be the figurehead? I'll be like, no. And also, I don't think that I'm at a level that people would do that, but I'm just saying.
So you don't want to start your own gin company?
What company?
Gin.
No.
That's what all the celebrities do,
definitely
right?
not.
They start an alcohol company. They're just like the
I'm
face
not a
of.
celebrity and I don't drink, so no. I'll start a bubble tea shop. My dream is to do something where I can make like bubble teas or things that are like those cooking games on those mobile games because I love that.
Childish just got to a new level.
Every time I see someone making my bubble tea, I'm like, oh, I'd love to do that because it's like you only have to choose. You choose a base tea, you choose toppings, then you choose the water.
Okay.
That's all you have to do. And then you clean at the end of the day. And I remember being a waitress. So I know what that's like to clean at the end of the day. I feel like I would love it. And I'd be like, hi, welcome to my bubble tea shop. How can I help you? And then everyone would be like, oh. I just
Why
think
do
it
you
would
want
be...
to make people uncomfortable?
I'm not making them uncomfortable. I'm just being pleasant.
Everyone's going to be like, ugh.
I
Yay.
just feel like, oh, it would be cool to start like a cafe or a bubble tea shop or like a stationery company. But those things are very, very hard. And I feel like are not the best for mental health. Next question is, do you draw as a hobby still or does it feel like work? And I feel like you could apply this yourself with photography. Do you photograph as a hobby still or does it feel like work?
Yeah, I photograph as a hobby still. I mean, I don't go out and like run around and like during sunrise and take photos of random things and get really excited about just taking photos of like nothing. But every now and then I'll get really excited about doing some like still lifes or something of nothing and try and challenge myself creatively.
Does it feel like work when you do those things?
No, because I'm doing it to find an answer to like a creative problem. Like I'm like I want it to look like a certain way and I'm trying to achieve something, so then I'm just purely pursuing it as like a fun task.
For me, I feel like it doesn't even really feel like work. It still feels fun, but it feels more like work when I have like a project that it's leading to. It's not just like drawing freely in my sketchbook, but I feel like I don't know if I feel like it's work. I don't think I think of it like that because I still feel super excited to do like commercial projects. I think the time when it's bad is when I have a lot of deadlines at once and then it feels like work. But I'm not usually drawing at that stage, just kind of executing everything. I wish I drew more, so that will be one of my resolutions.
See a question there that says top 3 dessert.
What? Okay, well, do you want to answer that?
That's way too hard.
I just wanted to let everyone know there was a question there that you're not reading.
I wanted to hear your top 3.
I do
Good
like
trying to
banoffee.
avoid
Oh, okay. I love pavlova. That's why Christmas is great. For people that don't know pavlova, it might be like a New Zealand or Australia thing that we have it at Christmas, but it's like a meringue, and it's not a hard meringue, fully hard meringue. It's like a really big cake-sized meringue. There's like really good ones have like soft insides, and like in my opinion, you can say what you think afterwards. I can see your face. You don't like that. I think I already knew that you didn't like
No,
it.
I'm just now learning why you avoided that question.
Why?
Because it seems like this is going to go for a while.
Well, I'm sorry about that. You opened the can of worms and you know me, so you should know. Anyway, I love pavlova. I'm not saying it's my first, but I'm very good. So anyway, it's like soft on the inside and then there's sometimes like a chewy, like crunchy shell. Tonga's trying to get into the room. It sounds so scary. And then you have like fruits and like toppings on it. Usually there'll be like freshly whipped cream, which is like not the waxy stuff, not the stuff in the can, like freshly whipped with a little bit of icing sugar and some vanilla. And sometimes people would put some custard. And then like berries. I usually have strawberries, like, and then like the range of berries that you get at Christmas in Australia. And then my mouth is watering. And then sometimes you can put lemon curd, sometimes you can put passion fruit seeds, but I hate the passion fruit seeds. I hate seeds. If someone could separate the seeds from the goo, then I would have that on it. It's so good. I love pavlova. And then honestly, the Sara Lee chocolate slab cake, which is a really good gelato. I love. Do you want to say anything?
Oh, I remembered mine. Mine are just 3 different types of fruits. They're my top 3.
Which ones?
That's too difficult. Just fruit. Just fruit salad.
Okay. Anyway. If you can't say the 3 favourite fruit, then you can't have a favourite dessert.
I didn't know that was the rules. Mango. I don't know. Raspberry. I'm not sure. Like kiwi or something random.
You're crazy.
I'm not sure. Just
you don't know your favourite fruit?
I don't know. Sometimes I really feel like an orange, and I'm like,
You love oranges. I would say orange is your favourite fruit.
And then sometimes I'm like, you know what, a banana, so good. And then other times I'll be like, I actually genuinely feel like a pear.
I have a clear, distinct top 5 favourite fruit: pineapple, blackberries, and these are all when they're in season.
Pineapple's good.
Yeah, pineapple's so good.
Yeah.
Blackberry,
Good.
golden kiwi, crock egg plums, and obviously a pink lady apple for good measure. There's a lot of questions about style. Do you ever get tired of drawing in your style? I sometimes feel like I find a style and then after about a month my brain tells me draw different. I feel like you could relate to this.
Can you not put the mic inside my mouth, please?
Sorry about that.
It's very close and I have to talk quietly.
Okay, then how far
Okay,
do
that's
you want
good.
to put it?
Because then I have the control. That's perfect. Yeah, I definitely jump from style to style within
Scratching
photography.
my armpit.
I definitely jump from style to style within photography. I get very bored very quickly, and also I feel like I convince myself that it's because I'm like wanting to creatively, I don't know, fulfill some need or challenge myself, but probably it's just me getting bored. And I think I'd be much further along if I didn't have this trait. Not to say that it's bad, but for some people maybe it hinders.
Do you feel like if you don't try really hard and that it's painful, like challenging, that it's not good?
It's really hard. I would say it definitely makes it feel better if it's like it's accomplished over some hurdle, but there are some other things that I've created that I'm like, some of my proudest works would be
Which
like
ones?
easy or something.
Which
I don't
ones?
know, but I'm not going to have recollection of it, but like I know for sure that that's happened where I'm like, wow, this was actually so easy and I love the outcome.
Like the one with the makeup shoot that I call it, with the medium format photos.
Not sure. I don't know which one.
The makeup one with the orange tights.
Oh, Layla.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was nice.
I
really
feel like
liked
that one was easy because
Yeah,
it was like...
quite simple feeling. It wasn't crazy complex, and
Yeah.
that turned out really nice. Yeah, definitely.
For me, I do change my style very frequently. I think because I accept style as something that's ever changing. I'm not like trying to stick to one thing, not in my head about it. I kind of like go with how I feel, and sometimes it means I change things very quickly or add things very frequently to my work. I do feel like I get tired, but it's kind of, I don't see it as like I'm on this stage. When you look back, you can retrospectively be like, this is my era of like galaxy animal paintings from Tumblr time. This is my era of like full background pieces. This is my era of the gouache, like simplified pieces. This is the era where I figured out how to draw people in like a simplified way for children's publishing. Like you can look back on that stuff, but I feel like in the moment I'm not like, time to change my style. It's just like, I just have joy in like adding new things and getting obsessed with things. No, I don't get tired of it. I just change it a lot though. I think I don't get tired of it because I don't force myself to do the same, to stick with it. Someone says, I want to ask if there's ways you can think about of getting jobs without having social media following. Yes, I would get an agent or assigned to an agency because they will get you work. Obviously, you don't have to have a following, but like it makes your work more visible to the people that hire illustrators. So it's really, I feel like it's really good and important, and you can be really in control of your work. But if you don't want to have to do that grind, I would go make your work like marketable to like a illustration agency or like a design or art agency. What's wrong?
Sha'an's asked me that because she sees I'm making a frowning, confused face. Why would you not want an Instagram account? Like, if you're an illustrator, I'm just confused.
I don't think it's like that they don't have one. I think it's more like doing the grind, because when you're small, you really have to, I feel like you have to play the algorithm game these days when you don't have a following already. Like you have to be consistent. You have to post a lot. You've got to post reels, and that can be exhausting and take away from.
Oh, it's the question about having a notable following.
They're just asking, I want to know if there's ways that you can get jobs without having a social media following. I don't think it means like 0 followers. I think it just means like a large one. I have a lot of friends that have like less followers, like maybe hundreds or thousands, like under 10K, and they have like thriving illustration portfolios and careers because they have an agent. So that would be my advice. Some space in your career, there has to be someone advocating for your work, whether it be yourself online on social media or an agent for you, because it's really unlikely that clients or like art directors or whoever's giving out the jobs is going to find your work if it's not online and not visible to them.
I would say treat your social media like as a portfolio. Somebody out there might have your photos, images, artworks saved somewhere for the right project and you don't know about it, and you just got to keep going, and it's just a portfolio. Don't get caught up about the number of followers.
I would say don't treat your social media like a portfolio, because I think it's really boring to be a viewer of that. So it depends if you want a following or not. If you want a following, don't just treat it like a portfolio. If you don't care about a following, you only want to be found by like clients, and you have an agency that's advocating for you, sure, do that.
True.
I think there has to be a level of storytelling for people to want to work with you, and I should turn this off. Like a level of storytelling and intrigue and like aura to the work that's not just the finished artwork, if you're trying to get big on social media or interest anyone.
True.
Unless you're super prolific and people like, what the hell, like who's that photographer? Like Leslie Zhang or something?
Oh yeah, Leslie Zhang.
They're like, who knows how they do it? Like
work.
they just have like new shoots every day. Like I don't know how. I don't know if it's many people or what.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It feels like there's like a new shoot, like a fully fledged, full hair and makeup, very surreal, very like conceptual every day. I'm like, how are you doing this?
And some of them have the craziest set designs, and you're like, well, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Someone said, I think this one's more for me, but they said, do you remember being a smaller YouTuber? What motivated you to keep going? How did you grow your YouTuber? What advice do you have for smaller YouTube channels? I loved this time because there was like low pressure. I didn't have any sponsors. So it was just me like purely making weird videos, and some of them were like 4 minutes long vlogs. It was a different time back then. But I also liked it because people were more inclined to be supportive. Like, not that people aren't supportive now, but more like people would make a video and be like, you have to check out this small YouTuber. And it felt so nice to hear what people thought and like how they connected to my work, like with their words, because it's so different to read it on a screen than hearing someone say it and seeing like their face when they say it. I miss that because I feel like people think like, oh, people know about me now, so that's like, why would they make a video about it? Which, yeah, fair enough. But also like, I'm still me. I don't like feel, I'm not like a different person just because lots of people decided to follow me. It's still nice to see those things, and people still do stuff like that, but it's not the same. But besides that, I remember it being pretty relaxed, and that's like a privilege that I have because I already had it's smaller than is now, but it's like, it was still big on Instagram, a following. Actually, like, it took a long time to translate to like have a larger following on YouTube. So I don't think a lot of people came from Instagram. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments if you came from my Instagram or the other way around, because I feel like I was like under 5,000 for ages making vlogs, and then one of my vlogs, which was like drawing adventure at botanical gardens or whatever, like blew up, and I gained like 30,000 subs like within a couple days, and I was like, what is going on? I know, it was so exciting because it was like, I didn't expect anything from YouTube and like the space, but like I've gotten so much from it in terms of connection to you guys, and in terms of being able to show you my life in a way that I wouldn't be able to on other platforms. In terms of like intimacy with me, I feel like it's the most intimate on YouTube. And also, of course, like sponsor wise and like financially, like I'm able to support myself and have like year-long contracts that means that I can expect to make a certain amount, so it takes a lot of pressure off. It's really nice. It's like having a salary. And then, because just so you know, because my contract renews every year, like I know how much I'm making for my booked in sponsorships for next year, so it's like really like reassuring. But I guess I went off on a tangent. Like, things are great now, but with all that stuff comes a lot of pressure. I think expectation from you guys, like level of, like, I just feel that every video I deliver has to be of a certain quality, whether it be like the way it's shot, whether it be like the story, whether it be this or that. Like, I feel a lot of pressure to like perform well and to like create good content for you guys. And I didn't have that when I started. I was just making silly little videos, and maybe that's kind of the charm of it. And maybe that's kind of sad that like I feel more pressure now because you don't get that as much. You don't get that, like, I'm not as risky, I think, because I'm scared. I don't want to be disappointing. And then just pressure from like deadlines and stuff. But I think what I'm trying to say is like, if you're smaller, enjoy that. Enjoy the lack of eyeballs for now, because that may change. Enjoy like the very, very, very intimate audience that you have, that you can like respond to every single person every time. Enjoy like not having video deadlines, just making videos when you want to. I would say don't force yourself to make content just to be consistent. I would say make content about stuff that you find interesting about yourself, or like, what movies do you like? Maybe you can like emulate some of the stuff you see. I feel like movies really inspire my work. Oh, and the other part of the question is, how did you grow your YouTube? I would say like, I just had fun with it. And I know that's not a good advice, because like people that are trying to get big are probably trying to do it because they want something. They want a larger audience. They want to be successful in other ways. They want to like leverage it for their illustration work or their artwork. And it's not really good advice to be like, just have fun with it, because it feels so urgent. I didn't force myself to make every week. I kind of just made little videos that I liked and like let you guys into my life in an authentic and like intimate way. And I think that is the key. I wasn't trying to be other YouTubers, although like I was definitely influenced by other YouTubers. Like I was just trying to be myself. So I think trying to do that above being consistent and like doing all the hacks that people do, like stop watching those videos. It's like, it's great to have like a few tips, like what hashtags to use, blah, 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 whatever. But like if your videos are good and they're authentic to you and they are able to touch people, they will find their audience for sure. Oh, I was going to ask Rocket, do you remember when I was smaller? Like, how do you think I grew? And like, cause it's hard for me to say, I don't really know. And what advice would you give for seeing things from the outside perspective?
You were creating just to create and have fun with it, and like you were just documenting. I remember we'd go on like a road trip to Canberra and stuff like that, and we'd do these things that were just like fun activities, and then you'd be like, oh, I might film and maybe make a video out of it. It was never like, oh, I have to make a video because I have to reach like a certain, like quota or whatever, like I have to finish this project sort of thing. And we'd just end up filming random bits and pieces here and there, and then you'd like edit it and compile it and not have to have a deadline when you edited it, and you would just have fun with it and make like silly stuff. And then sometimes in the editing process we'd watch it and we'd just like go on a tangent and make more silly stuff, and that was probably an authenticity that came through,
or like joyfulness that came through. I feel like just have solace in the fact that like you're going to look back on these videos and you're going to want to see who you really were. So don't try and pretend to be someone you're not. Don't try and be further ahead. Like, document where you are, because you will grow, and it will be really nice for you to look back and see like the parts of you that have grown and the parts that were like not as good, or the parts that were more innocent, or the parts that were less experienced. Like those things are going to be super endearing, and people don't like, you don't want to do tutorials if you don't know what you're talking about. If you're just regurgitating someone else's tutorials, you don't want to teach if you have nothing to say. Like I would just show the world who you are, where you are at the moment. What are you struggling with? Because other people are going to relate to that as well. And then in the long term, you're going to be able to see these little home movies of your practice, and it's going to be so lovely. Like I'm so appreciative that I have like documented like when I was smaller, when I was less experienced, when I didn't know what I was doing, all the silly things that I did. I'm so glad that it's like a more authentic view of like my business and my career and like me as a person. Next question is this. I'd love to hear about your approach to networking and engagement with your art design community. I find myself sometimes too shy or too formal when approaching/reaching out to people whose work I'm interested in. Sometimes I just want to ask, want to grab coffee and talk about your work and journey, lol, but I know that doesn't always work. Also, the type of question to ask when curious about someone's practice. I feel like you're overthinking this. I feel like saying that would be awesome, especially if it's someone that like is your mutual online, or you both admire each other's work, or you've chatted about things online. I would say like that kind of casualness is so appropriate if you've already interacted with someone a lot and you both follow each other and you both clearly like each other's work, because like there's a friendship to be formed there. I think if you're approaching someone that's like leagues above you in terms of experience and like what they can give you versus what you can give them, I think it has to be like kind of a polite invitation. Maybe you buy them lunch or coffee, so there's something that you can give them, and just let them know like what you like about their work and that you'd like to pick their brain, and maybe they'll say yes and maybe they won't. I think not feeling entitled to anyone's time, because you're not, but also like just treating it as every single interaction you have with anybody can be like beneficial for you in terms of like growing a community, or like having someone that relates to you, or someone who you can bounce your ideas off of, or someone who could be a future potential friendship or whatever. So many of like my internet friends I made by just like talking to them a lot online, and then like we ended up having coffee or something, and like it really like blossomed from there. I think having a casual approach to it is like the key. What do you think, Rocket?
I agree. Honestly, I've probably like in the last 12 months met up with like 5 or 6 people, had coffee just exactly like that, from either them messaging me or me messaging them.
So what do you say to them when you message them and it's successful?
Just pretty much that. Like, hey, I'd love to get coffee, love to chat about photography. And then it just goes from there.
I think like keeping it casual and not pressuring them, because obviously you're not entitled to their time, and everyone can be time poor and they may not have time to give. So just having that casualness of what you wanted to say, that is perfect. And then when it comes to questions to ask, I would just say like, what are you actually interested in? Do you want to know how did they monetize, like going from this? Like obviously you don't want to be like, how much money do you make a year? Like on first meeting someone that's like maybe more guarded because they don't know your work as much as you know their work, but like try and like think about what kind of questions you can ask. If that's truly what you want to know, you can just be like, how soon were you able to like be financially independent with your work? Or how soon were you able to, from when you started, were you able to monetize your work? And if you're hanging out with like a peer that's kind of on the same level as you have to be vulnerable first if you want to ask those kinds of questions. Not that you will ask those questions. I don't recommend asking those questions the first time you meet someone, but I feel like maybe asking them about what they struggle with, or where they want to take their work, or how they started, or how they make the time to do work, or what kind of commercial stuff do they do, or what kind of stuff do they do behind the scenes that they may not be sharing that you may not have seen. That's all interesting stuff. But I think just be casual and just try and like, even if it's nerve-wracking, just like ask them what you want to know or what you're interested in. And even just think of it like, oh, this is a potential friend. And that's how I always go into interactions. I'm like, oh, this is a potential friend. Like I actually love meeting new people. I think it's really fun, and like you never know who someone's going to be to you. Like some of my closest friends I just met, and we just got coffee and then got to know each other, and like it blossomed into something better.
Also, don't be shy of like being rejected, because it's not a rejection, it's purely just them like not having the time, and that's it.
Yeah, if they say no to you, it's not like, oh, I can't believe that person asked me to coffee. That person's such a loser. I freaking hate that person. Every day they're thinking, oh, it's that pathetic person. They see you on the street, they think, oh, it's that pathetic person that's like your nightmare, but that's not the truth. That's not anyone. No one's doing that. Everyone's just like, oh, I don't have time right now. And that's probably the truth.
Yeah, I've probably been like, I don't know what the other word for it is, but yeah, I've probably been rejected for coffee like 4 times in the last 6 months.
Does it make you feel sad?
Not at all.
Does it make you feel happy?
I wouldn't say it made me feel happy, but it made me feel like, cool, at least I asked, and that's fine. Like, I totally get it. This person's really busy, and that's okay.
Maybe take a yes as a bonus and take a no as a not rejection because of you just kind of like, that person's busy, and you get why, because you've asked them to coffee, so you clearly like their work. I'm never asking someone I've never spoken to. I'm never asking someone that hasn't seen my work or doesn't follow me back or whatever. Like, I'm being realistic or whatever.
I have.
What? Who's the biggest person that you've asked?
I'm not sure. George Anthony?
George Anthony is like a photographer in Australia who does like a lot of big campaigns for like a lot of big companies. He's very prolific and very cool.
Either that or like Tom Holland.
No, you didn't.
No, I'm joking.
I was like, what the hell? I've never heard of this. So there's lots of questions about hobbies.
Hobbies? Okay. Well, why don't we read one?
Well, they're kind of the same. They're just like, what are your hobbies outside of your work?
Okay, Sha'an. I'll let you start because your list goes on and on.
I don't really have hobbies, I've decided, but actually I've decided I do have hobbies, but in the general and like traditional sense, I don't do anything. If I have spare time, I want to draw pictures and not outside of work. I don't have time for other hobbies, although I've decided, I saw my friend Tara on her story say that like her hobby's like watching reality TV. I'm like, didn't know that could be a hobby. That's definitely one of my hobbies. I watch a lot of reality television. I just like it. It's just primal. Primal. Anyway, it's like, I just feel like it's trashy and I love it. So one of my hobbies that I have now outside of work would be watching reality TV. And what was the other one? Sleeping. Oh, I remember going out to eat. And no, before you ask, like, it's not just going out to dinner. Like, I have brunch like at least 3 times a week at local cafes, and it's like my little treat. It's definitely a hobby and I love it. I fully embrace it. It really enriches my life.
Why are you pointing at me?
Just see if you agree.
Yeah, she's not lying.
See? And I think a hobby that I could get into the next year is like reading, because I really loved reading like the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. If you haven't read it, you should read it. And I'm reading Daisy Jones and the Six now. I read this one called Counterfeit and it's not that good, so I don't really like it. Getting to know like the kind of books I like has been really helpful, like authors I like, and also I really like biography style books, whether it be like a real biography or not. I really like them. I listened to Emily Ratajkowski's book. I listened to Mindy Kaling's audiobook. I listened to the Diary of Anne Frank while I was doing Peachtober, which probably wasn't the best idea, and like a bunch of other things. So I feel like reading could be a really, really good thing. And I mean physically reading, because it's been really nice to carry a book with me, and like when I'm waiting for the bus, it's not an issue because I'm like, I guess I can just read. So that will be my hobby for next year that I want to implement. But honestly, I don't really have that many hobbies. I don't have a lot of free time. If I have free time, I want to spend it with my family and friends.
Agreed.
But that means that includes reality TV. Because reality TV with friends is fun, and I usually only watch it when I'm either working, like doing something that I don't need my full capacity for, or also when I'm with Rocket, we watch Love Island and we watch other things. And when I'm with Nate, I watch Real Housewives, and it's just like such good like talking fuel. Like sometimes Nate and I will have one episode of Real Housewives of New York, and then we spend like the whole night talking about it. Like we pause it every 2 seconds. Rocket hates it, but we pause it every 2 seconds and like discuss. And it stretches like one episode out for like 3 hours.
Again, true.
Anyway, do you have any? Rocket has lots of hobbies.
I am the hobby guy.
I think like it's good to have hobbies, but I think Rocket has a lot of hobbies, but he doesn't do them that much. He just has a lot of hobbies.
Yeah, like at one point I really got into free diving, so I had to go buy like a full free diving kit, and then I did that for a little while, but then I realized that every time that I did it, I was getting nosebleeds, and I was like bleeding internally in my head, and I was like, this needs to stop now.
That's not healthy. That's not safe. See why I get stressed about your safety?
Anyway.
Top 4 hobbies.
That'd be photography.
No, that's not a hobby. That's your career. Because then I can have illustration then.
Okay. Skating. At one point it was surfing. I want that to still be a thing, but that was really difficult for a little while.
Why?
Well, COVID ruined everything. Got in the way.
Like, fine.
Surfing's great. And at one point I got really into calisthenics. I don't know if that's a hobby, but I was pretty into it.
People go to the gym as a hobby.
I was like going to the, what do you call those things? Gym park for like at least twice a day. Last one, building things.
What do you mean?
Love building things.
Just building empires.
Just an empire a week will do me. No,
I guess you are Dutch.
But just like, yeah, building cabinets and building random things is a lot of fun.
I thought hobbies had to be more frequent. Like, I thought you had to do hobbies like very frequently or something. I'm looking it up. Hold this.
That means 2 of my hobbies are weeing and pooing.
Well, they're not for monetary gain, but they could be.
Not sure how to set that up.
Probably like OnlyFans.
Anyway.
Or like fertilizer company.
Hobby. Not that prolific.
I feel like I don't have as much like desire to have hobbies because I still am really engaged with the work that I do. Like it's like it started as a hobby. Everything I did started as a hobby. Posting on Instagram, making videos for YouTube, illustrating, all of those started as hobbies. And yeah, there's more pressure and stress because they're monetized and they're my career and I do them for work. But I love them so much still. So that's why I feel like I struggle to have like actual hobbies that people usually would have. Like I assume that these are the hobbies that people have: rock climbing, reading, knitting, building keyboards. All just Kim's hobbies. Kim's awesome. What do you think of the AI situation, Rocket Wayers?
The AI situation is going off the hook and I love it.
Wrong answer.
Oh, don't be scared of tech.
I'm not. They steal the styles of artists online to create new styles. Sometimes it still has the signature on it, I saw. How do you feel about that? Someone stealing my work. Do you feel okay with that?
I guess like
they're selling this service.
Surely it still has to stay within like the whole 20% copyright kind of laws and everything, right?
I just think it's like if an artist was doing that, it wouldn't be okay. So why is it okay for technology?
That's true, but there have been other artists that have done that.
True.
So I guess it has been okay.
Just because something's legal doesn't mean it's moral.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You've become the demon in this. How dare you?
I don't really know because like, I don't want something just to a machine just to completely rip somebody else's creative style and then just like blast it as someone else's work.
Yeah.
But is that exactly what's happening? Because isn't it kind of melding a whole bunch of different stuff together?
I don't know. To be honest, I haven't really seen a lot of the stuff. My initial thoughts is like, no, it's not good that it's taking a bunch of people's work and spitting out images that are in that style. That's not good. It's not like ethical, I feel. Especially without the permission of the artist, without paying the artist and compensating when it's a service that's paid for. However, I think you can't like stop it. I think it's coming, and like you just have to figure out ways to like roll with progress, you know, just in the same way as you guys roll with like algorithmic changes on social media. You can't stop it. You just kind of have to like go with it. I reckon, okay, so this is what I've been thinking. I still think companies will work with artists. Like, I think on the lower end, people with smaller budgets may use, like publications with small budgets may use it, but the illustrations aren't going to be as good. They're not going to be as like built for the purpose by a person. So if that's what they're looking for anyway, they're not really valuing illustration anyway. Those kinds of clients. I think the clients that will be important are the ones that want to work with artists to differentiate themselves. I feel like AI art will be the cheap art making solution, and there'll still be space for like human artists and stuff to do stuff. You know, like I think it's risky if you're falling back on being like it's definitely going to affect artists, but I feel like there'll still be companies. Like I predict that companies will want to set themselves apart by being like, this is a person. So what I suggest doing, and which is something that I already do, is putting yourself in your work. Like if you're doing process videos, an AI can't imitate that. That is a nice like backstory for a painting that someone can hire you to do, so that like they can be like, look, I hired a real artist. I think it'll be like a status point for a company. So I feel like there'll still be space for artists. I think maybe like it could decrease the amount of work that's out there, but the work that it's taking away is that kind of grunt work of illustration, which of course is like important if you're like paycheck to paycheck and stuff like that. But yeah, I was worried about it for a second because I was like, what will happen? But I find solace in that like a lot of my, like some of my work is based on me, like in terms of like my vlogs and stuff like that. A lot of it's based on my process, which is not something that you can make if you're AI, because you're just kind of like internalizing information, spitting some more out. You're not like documenting that. Then also, I just think people will want to support illustrators and artists.
Also, within all those scenarios, it has to be pretty broad for it to work as a AI illustration. None of it can ever be brand specific. Like, I can't tell AI to be like, oh, draw the new like Qantas aeroplane design.
Yeah, it already has to be fully saturated online for it to be able to do that.
There's still going to be purpose-led illustration projects.
Yeah.
There's still going to be purpose-led like visual
concept,
things.
you mean?
Whether it's concept, whether it's like, okay, we need it for this actual thing that's not visualized yet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that is as concept. I'm saying like, for instance, you just did a Boss Coffee thing.
Yeah.
Can't go and tell Thingy to be like, hey, make the new caramel latte flavor Boss Coffee, make it like this, and then add this.
You can though. It's about like, I think the creators will be the prompt writers, like it's
not going to be exactly as the brand made the actual product, so then it won't actually work. You can't put that out.
Yeah. I think true creativity will like still prevail because there's got to be someone to write the prompts. Obviously, it will cut out a lot of jobs, which is not great, but it's also, it happens a lot in history. I know that like lawyers might be in danger, like all these things, but it just still leaves room. There'll always be a need for human lawyers. Like there will always be a need for human artists. There'll always be a need for human illustrators. And I think in the long term, if AI is cutting this grunt work, when I say grunt work, I just mean the more like, I don't know what I mean by that. Maybe take time, but not as much skill or style. Like not innovation, not skill, just like things that take time. That is a job, but it's not necessarily like, if it's something a machine can do, it was already in danger anyway. I don't think it's good necessarily, but I think that in the long term, maybe it'll make the landscape of careers be more focused on what people are passionate about. Like maybe people won't be lawyers because there won't be money in it, because AI will cut out a big portion of like the needs for like human lawyers. There'll still be a need for some human lawyers, but like if you're just doing it for the money, like why would you do it anyway? Like I feel bad for people that have gotten degrees that will then be destroyed quickly, because the career doesn't pay off the degree, which is kind of sad. Obviously I feel bad for anyone that's losing a job, but like I think the only like productive thing to do is to be optimistic and to try and find solutions early on. But yeah, that's how I feel. I felt a bit scared, but now I just feel like I'll just roll with the punches when it happens. I'm gonna make sure that I'm like setting myself apart from AI by like showing myself on camera, showing my process more than I would have. Things like that I think protect you from what's happening with AI situation in art. I don't know if you know this, sweetheart. I saw it on Jess's page, but like do you know that those books that's like Aragon, and like they're like the purple dragon book from back in the day, and like the red one?
No.
I'll show you a photo. Basically, it's a big author. This person has sold a lot of books, and the publisher came out and was like, we are admitting that we licensed a stock image, and the stock image was created by AI. The original photo had no legs, so they had to draw in legs, but it was like done in-house. And they were like, we are admitting that this is what has happened. We didn't realize it was an AI stock image, but they still got a stock image for like a huge author, which is people are saying it's a huge disservice to the author, which I agree with, because it's not created like specifically for the author, just kind of there. And I think it's a cheap option. And like, why would they do that for like a huge author that they know can sell books? People were just like, that's a cop out. You could still hire someone. They're like, we're moving forward with this.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to it, because obviously they did it for business reasons.
I know. There will always be people that try and cut corners, and there will always be people that don't want to and want to celebrate artists. Who do you look up to? I feel like, is this like what illustrators I admire the most, maybe?
Yeah, or maybe, you could talk about the guy that you live with.
Yeah, he is taller than me.
Cool.
I look up to my sweetheart, Rocket Wales. He's an angel.
Oh, that felt really good.
Anyway, illustrators that I like, I'll take, okay, here's people you need to look up, because I just think they're amazing. Rebecca Green, she's a kids lit author and illustrator, but like her illustrations are amazing. Like I followed her for a really long time, and I think her work is incredible. I also love her vulnerability, and she makes a lot of like, her Patreon's really good, and her blog is really good, and it's super vulnerable, super open, super lovely, and she's just delightful, and her work is incredible. Like I would say Rebecca Green is one of my favorite illustrators to follow their work. Another one is Oliver Jeffers, obviously. If you know kids lit stuff, he's like the rock star of children's illustration, like contemporary children's illustration. And I think what I find interesting about his work is like the looseness, the playfulness, but then like how prolific he is. Like I really admire his practice in that it's like kids books and picture books, and then the other half of it's fine art. You know what I mean? And he seems to like balance his life really well. Like he has a family and la. And I'm like, how would you even do that? Other than that, I don't know. I admire lots of different things from a lot of different people. It's always hard to choose, but those are two that spring to mind very quickly, and two that you can have easy access to right now. You can find them on Instagram, follow Rebecca Green on Patreon, and look at her blog posts. Like I would immediately go to her blog right now. Rocket, who do you look up to?
Oh, way too many people. Honestly, way too many people.
What do you mean? Like if you had to name your two favorite creatives, who would they be?
Two favorite? That's not possible. Honestly, I couldn't do that.
Okay. You just can't think of anyone right now? I guess it is a hard question, because it's like I look up to a lot of people too. Do you think I should do two more or one more?
Do two more.
Okay, so one of them is, maybe it's a question you often have, but what are the negative elements in your work that you can tell us about? I will soon finish my master's degree, and I imagine that being independent brings its share of problems, so to solve in order to be happy and independent. Greetings from... if you're going straight out of school into freelance, I would not recommend it.
Yeah, just Google like difficulties of freelance.
No.
Honestly, that's about it. Like it's nothing like specific that I reckon. I mean, this is it's your question.
I feel like it's there are a lot of difficulties, and when you come out of school, you may have done school for 4 years, but you know nothing. You've done nothing. No offense. And I feel the same way. I was like, I'm amazing. I've done this for so long. But when I got out of school, I was like, I don't know anything. So I really recommend getting a job in like the industry. If you want to be an illustrator, maybe you could intern at like an illustration agency to see like the business side. Maybe you could intern with a big illustrator. You could get business experience in other ways. Work for a company. I did it by working for a design studio, or not really a design studio, but like an agency, and that was so helpful in so many aspects of my work. Business is the hardest thing because like the illustration is the fun stuff, the business is like the stuff that you have to learn. I would say for me though, right now, the negative parts would be not having enough time to do everything I want to do. It's very frustrating to have to split myself off. If you're a professional illustrator, there's a business side and an illustration side, but on top of that, I also do like content creation, social media stuff, and document my stuff online. So the time that I have to actually illustrate is split again. And I actually love documenting my work and spending time doing that, but there's just not enough time to do it all in the level that I would love to. That's the worst thing for me. What's something that's bad for you, sweetheart?
Something that's bad for me in my freelance photography business and life. Yes. Managing admin and dealing with all the back end stuff of having to run your own freelance business.
Yeah. I feel like at the start, like you may not earn enough money to be able to do this, but if you want to hire someone to do your admin, if you can find an agent that wants to represent you so they can do your admin, because honestly, like admin, it just sucks so much time. That was a big thing for me at the start as well. So I started working with Chris. All
the self-doubt.
What do you mean by this?
I just mean in terms of like, you're a one-person team. You're sitting there questioning everything you do and you don't get any validation from anyone because you're just by yourself all the time. And then you're like, oh, great, this is good. And then you're like, is it? And that will live with you forever.
Oh my God. That's why social media is really good, because it's like you get feedback straight away. That's what helped me when I started out. How do you think 2022 went for you? What are some good things and not so good things? What are some hopes and goals for 2023? And do you have any longer term goals? I have projects that I want to do that I didn't get time to, didn't make time to do. I think something that was good in 2022 is I think this year was the first year I did 2 videos. I really like doing 2 videos. So I'm going to continue that, 2 videos a month, that is. I'm going to continue that next year. Something that wasn't as good is I didn't do as many store drops as I want to, like in terms of being able to create interesting items like the t-shirts, or like I have like all these ideas for things that I want to make, but I just haven't had time to like go through the manufacturing process and design process for them. I feel like the worst thing is not having time to do more interesting stuff, but the good thing is having like enough work that takes that time. Like I'm just grateful to be able to get so much work. Hopes and goals for 2023. I just hope I can have a more balanced life next year. I need to learn to delegate next year even further, which is like really stressful for me. I hope that my therapy goes well and I improve myself. And I hope that I make more time for family and friends and like stuff and hobbies, because like I feel a bit strange that I don't have a hobby. It makes me feel like bad for some reason. How do you think 2022 went for you?
2022 went okay, had its ups and downs. It ended up kind of just leveling out and being like, yeah, neither here nor there. It was a bit of a... There was good things, but there was also struggles. So
I feel like you had your best projects yet this year. The Adidas campaign.
Yeah, that's true. There were some good projects, but
the Kaiser billboard thing.
Yeah, that was cool. Like, had some of my first like major kind of large scale print out of home like print stuff this year, which was fun.
Full year in the studio.
Yeah, first full year in the studio, which had its ups and downs again.
But there's a lot of things that I feel like from an outside you'd be like, that's sick, but because you're living it, it's hard to recognize. Anything for any hopes or goals for 2023?
Oh, heaps.
What? I
want to be crazy busy, and I want to shoot more. I want to shoot heaps more stuff in the studio, and what would be really fun, I'd love to do a billboard in the studio, and for that billboard to be printed at the train station outside the studio. So from my studio window, cool. I get to see what I produced in the studio. That'd be like just really fun.
So you shoot it in the studio, and then it's in the billboard at the train station right outside.
I would love just for that to happen. It's just really a strange scenario that I'd really like to see.
And they're only up for like 2 days, maximum a week. So you'd be like, this is awesome. And then the next day you'd be like, oh, bye.
Yep. Just more project scale, kind of scale of my photography work, just getting bigger and bigger. That's what I want.
This person. Okay, one last one. No question. Just love to you and Rocket. P.S. I actually do have a question. Remember Log? I think of him from time to time, and I hope he lived a great stick bug life.
We also think of him quite a lot because we drive past... On the way to the airport, we drive past literally his tree.
I'm like, should we get out and see if Log's there? But he's probably dead. But also, I also put in Log's. I put in my sketchbook tour, there was like a drawing that I did of Log.
Oh, yeah.
So I shared that story again, and people were like, that's so funny.
He had a great time.
An angel. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video as per usual. Squarespace, if you don't know, is a all-in-one platform for building websites. I use it for my website.
I use it for my website.
Would you say it's amazing?
I would say it's amazing.
Would you say the templates are vast and also versatile and also beautiful?
It's almost like you took the words out of my mouth.
Would you say that the backend is gorgeous, easy to use, great UX?
Great. I was just about to say great UX. Wow.
If you have not tried Squarespace before, go to squarespace.com/furrylittlepeach. You get a free trial and...
What?
You get a free trial and...
And 20%.
No, oh my god. You get a free trial and 10% off your first purchase. Thank you, Squarespace.
Thank you, Squarespace.
I hope you guys like this little Christmas couples podcast ep. I hope it was good, and I hope you enjoyed me watching me gift wrap. I just have to say, I'm so sorry I'm not good at gift wrapping. I didn't really talk about the gift wrapping at all, but just know I'm not good at it, and it took a long time. So I hope you enjoy it, and if you don't, oh well, I'm sorry about that. I hope you enjoyed listening anyway.
I sure did.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Ditto.
Happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. But I hope you still get to spend time with family. And I hope you get one present that you feel that someone nailed and that you're like, that person understands me. But even if you don't, I hope that someone's like, I love you. And then you feel loved. And if you get to have pavlova, oh, amazing. I envy you, even though I will be having pavlova on Christmas.
And if no one loves you, just replay this. I love you.
Oh yeah, if no one loves you, don't worry. Someone will love you. And also, even if no one loves you, you can love yourself. And that's okay.
Yeah. Make it a boss year. Love yourself.
Oh my God. It's turning into one of those podcasts. Bye.